What's up and welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Liz. This is Korean Crime Time. I'm your host. I sit down, talk about a true crime story, and most of the time there is art involved as well. And if that piqued your interest, I would highly suggest you to hit that subscribe button and turn your bell notification on all. That way you know when I upload, because I upload quite frequently. Now, today's true crime case, we are going to be talking about the murder of Dana Dodd, or as she was known prior as Lavender Doe. Now, Dana Dodd, she went unidentified for for a while, but not for that long. So, okay, the body of a white or possible Middle Eastern female between the ages of 17 to 25 was discovered on the 29th of October of 2006. Now, and this was in Kilgore, Texas. The body was found lying face down in a pile of burning brush. The body was severely burned, but clothing was still present. A purple sweater and a pair of jeans were recovered. It was believed that her body was set on fire merely minutes before it was discovered, so whoever killed her then went back and set her on fire to make sure that she wouldn't be identified. My belief. It also was discovered that she had about $40 in her pocket, so robbery was not motive. And it was believed that she died between 8:15 p.m. and 10 p.m. the previous day. So she was found on the 29th. That would be that her date of death would be the 28th. So, two of her deciduous teeth were still present, and they believed that this would help in identifying her, but it proved to be that it wouldn't. So, deciduous teeth is primary teeth or baby teeth or milk teeth, which is another name. So, with her still having baby teeth in her mouth, that would kind of like also help narrow down her age, but again, it can't. So I'm 30. I have a baby tooth in my mouth because I don't have an adult tooth above it, and it has never loosened and it's still there. And that is why this little one right here, that's a baby tooth. So I mean, some people have different dental structures, we'll just say that. She had perfect teeth without any cavities or fillings. Lucky lady. She weighed approximately 100 to 120 pounds and was between 5'3" and 5'5" in height, and most likely came from a middle class household. She had a reddish or blonde with blonde and red highlight hair, but may have been entirely strawberry blonde or light brown, so she had fair hair, basically. Initially, it was believed that she would be as young as 13 because of, the teeth. So, and her race and sex were also considered unknown until they further studied her. And due to the recovery of an empty gas can from the scene and the nature of her death, this was ruled as homicide. There was semen found upon forensic examination, indicated that she may have been a victim of rape prior to her death. So, according to residents in the area, there was many suspicious people in the vicinity of where she was found, which, by the way, where she was found was an oil field. So, yeah. Some referred to the location as a killing ground. So, I have also noticed too that there used to be a show called the oil fields on TV. I don't know if it's on anymore, and it's about deaths that are around the oil fields in the South. But yeah, that's why killing ground. Sorry, little tangent. So because of the condition of her body, it made the reconstruction of her face hard. So they did it 3 times. And this was done by clay sketch by forensic artists, and also in January of 2014, the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children ended up doing a digital composite image that used the CT scan. So basically they take the skull and they CT scan it so they can get a more accurate picture. And this was after her remains were exhumed on October 2nd of 2013. So despite comparison with dental records and DNA of the DNA log of a large number of missing persons, the search for identity was they got nowhere. And even after the most recent reconstruction was sent out, so 2014, there was a mom that got tipped off. So this person is the mother of Brandy Wells, and she was a missing 23-year-old who disappeared after going out to a nightclub in Longview, Texas one evening in August of 2006. And she contacted authorities because she felt there was a resemblance between the reconstruction and her daughter Brandy. So after DNA testing happened, Brandy unfortunately was eliminated because it turned out that there was no match. So in 2007, a suspect in the case emerged, and this was a man named Joseph Wayne Burnett. He was then 36 years old, and he was a convicted sex offender. He was at the time incarcerated for another crime. And this was when police announced their suspicions that he was the murderer. So Burnett previously denied involvement in the murder. However, in August of 2018, so August 27th, 2018, he confessed to killing Lavender Doe, along with the 2018 murder victim Felicia Pearson. So Burnett claimed that he convinced the victim to enter his vehicle when she was selling items from a magazine. So after her, Lavender Doe's body remained unidentified. It was buried in Longview, Texas, and in 2013, this is when they exhumed her, and this is when they recreated her face with the digital scan, so the CT scan. And they also did a three-dimensional clay reconstruction, brought that back out in the original sketch. So they had all three together. So the culmination of this all. So in 2018, the Dana Doe project took on this case to try and uncover her identity. And the organization ended up raising $1,400 to analyze her DNA for genetic genealogy, which that is truly the biggest rave when it comes to figuring out who these John and Jane Does are right now, because people want to know who they are. So people will often donate to help figure out who these people are. Like, my hopes is that, which they actually are doing this right now. So this is going to kind of be like a shout out to my Little Miss Nobody case. They are currently testing her DNA, and they are building a family tree off of her DNA. So my hopes is that in the next few months they will be able to figure out who she is. So this case, they used genetic genealogy. There's been a slew of John and Jane Doe cases that have been identified over the past few months, and it's really awesome to see that these people finally have a name. And thankfully, they were able to do this with Lavender Doe. So yeah, they analyzed her DNA, they made a profile, and they identified a first cousin, once removed, who lived in East Texas. This was about 30 miles from where her body was found. So in January of 2019, the DNA Doe project, they were in collaboration with Aerodyne and Fall Genomes Corporation team. They announced that they had identified Lavender Doe and that her identity would be released after the trial of Burnett. So, despite this claim, they released her identity to the public on February 11th of 2019 that she was Dana Dodd. And so they also released a few facts about her, is that her mother had left her when she was a baby. Her father was homeless, and she lived for a time with her stepmother, and was last known to be living in Jacksonville, Florida, where she was living with half siblings. Dana left her family in Florida in 2000, but she was reportedly last seen in 2003. She had joined a door-to-door magazine sales team that was known for human trafficking, and this was the ruse of travel opportunities. So it was also speculated that Dana may have been selected by Burnett as a victim, as she solicited customers in the parking lot of Walmart in the area. So it was ultimately decided to keep Dana where she was originally buried, and this was mainly due to the fact that many of the police officers that were involved in her case and in the area and the community, they spent years caring for her gravesite. So they felt it was, because she was being cared by people that were taking care of her, that it was best to keep her where she was. So in December of 2020, Burnett ended up pleading guilty to Dodd and Felicia Pearson's murders and was sentenced to 50 years for each murder. So that, my friends, is the case of Lavender Doe. And I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in my next true crime case. Bye!
So this is 27. It doesn't matter what